Okay, hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about tree pose. But really quickly I'm going to talk about what's yoga therapy and how does it apply to tree pose and what does it mean. Well, yoga therapy to me is moving without compensation. It's about moving more purely at our joints. Now, so what do I mean by moving without compensation? I'll just give a quick, simple example that I like to use. Bicep curls. This is a very pure motion that I'm doing right now. I'm moving very purely at my elbow joint. Nothing else is moving other than my bicep and my tricep counterbalancing it. Yes, the hand is following along, the wrist and the forearm. The motion and the work is happening right here, where it's supposed to. An example of a compensatory bicep curl would look something like this. I saw this guy doing this at the gym the other day. He was like, huh, 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 huh. So you could see where the guy was moving a lot more than just his biceps. He was moving his neck, he was moving his back, he was pulling his head back. So even though he is strengthening his bicep, he could strengthen it more by just focusing on that. And also he's creating a lot of compensation patterns throughout his back and his neck and his shoulders. So, which could lead to injury. So yoga therapy is about moving purely at the joint. So in that particular movement, should be moving right at the elbow joint. So let's see how that applies to tree pose. Alright, so in tree pose, the thing that's moving, everything is standing still. The whole body is in mountain pose, except for one hip moving into flexion, abduction, and a little rotation. So, the movement is all about what's happening right here at the hip joint. Remember, hip joint is a ball and socket joint. So, to move purely into the pose, we would want to lift with just the hip joint. Sometimes when people lift here, they lift like this from the side of their body. They're using their pelvis. You want to lift straight up. The thigh bone moving in the hip joint. Then, when they move out to the side, they want to move from the knee. I'll call it the knee. It comes into the back, where they want to use the pelvis. So instead of being able to move from the buttock and bring the hip out to the side, or bring the thigh out to the side, once they get to a point where their hip can't handle it anymore, they're going to start to tilt into the pelvis, and it's going to cause more SI pain and torque and imbalance or unevenness in the hips. So, and then they might try to straighten it out by bringing their torso in front or something like that. So basically, also people will come into tree pose by putting their hand on their ankle and getting it up there that way. I don't think I really need to explain too much about why that's compensatory. It just seems obvious to me. So anyway, so simply thinking about moving just in your pure range of motion and really exploring what's available to you, lifting just the thigh in the hip socket and slowly moving the knee out. Focus on the movement happening here. And then when you're ready, putting your foot on the inner line of the leg, giving a little squeeze, and there you go. You have a pure tree pose. When you bring your arms into it, moving purely up the shoulder joint, not lifting from the rib cage or somewhere else. All right. Woohoo! Go yoga therapy. Namaste.